Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor and I am your host. And I am not God, obviously. I am not an expert. I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. So I'm here every day telling you to look for divinity in your life. And I think it's only right if I report sometimes on what I'm seeing in mine. This last week was brutal. If you know grief, you know that sometimes inexplicably it just can attack you and hit you like a wave and you cannot come up for air. That is what happened to me this week. I don't know where it came from. I've stopped trying to figure grief out. I just am a student of it and I learn from it and I take it as it comes. But this week was brutal. And it made me think a lot about all of the people in my life who I know are doing impossible things. Because this week, not to be dramatic, but I always am, felt impossible. Nothing crazy, just a really hard grief wave combined with starting a new job, combined with the end of May, all of my kids' activities and performances. These are good things. Well, not the grief wave, but lots of good things, but demanding. The schedule has been demanding, rigorous, and when you throw grief at that, a kind of grief that makes it hard for me to even respond to a text or leave my bed, it felt impossible to live this week. And yet I did it. And I don't take credit for that. And so when I am living each day looking for divinity, but also kind of reflecting on the week as a whole, I noticed that I was made able to do the impossible to get through this week. Divinity showed up for me in the last week by just somehow getting me through. I was able to get through. I was able to keep trying. I was able to have a few conversations with friends that really helped me. I was given a rainy day that really helped me. I was given awareness and the ability to recognize what was happening of, oh, wow, I'm being smacked in the face by grief right now. That's what this is. And that understanding helps me not spiral thinking it's something other than that. So I can kind of just let the wave wash over rather than trying to fix it. But little by little, one day at a time, I made it through this week. And it makes me emotional even thinking about it because when I think about how to articulate the divinity in my life, I can't even necessarily give you specifics on this happened and that was clearly divine intervention and so it made the week possible. I was carried through this week and I see that very clearly. And that's where divinity was this week for me. It was in little things, but also really big things like being carried and somehow being able to make it through each day. But what I would love to invite you to reflect on today is, what are you doing in your life that is seemingly impossible? And before you say, oh, nothing, really think about it because we normalize a lot of things that are pretty extraordinary. I was talking with a coworker this week at lunch, and she was telling me about some miscarriages that she had had, some late stage miscarriages. And she just mentioned, and then I died on the table. And then she looked at me and said, oh, you've died before. And we laughed. And I thought, just the fact that two women can sit at lunch at work and say, oh, you died, I died, yeah, and then we can move on with our conversation is insane. The things women carry are insane. The things you are accomplishing in a day are impossible, but you're doing it. And I don't think we all need to be the hero. I'm not trying to suck up to you or be overly flowery in this, but I get to talk to a lot of people every day, women specifically, and I hear of the things that they're carrying, that they're navigating, that they're serving, that they're doing. And it is extraordinary, but it is normalized because it's just what you do. When people say, I don't know how you do it after your child dies, there's not really an answer because you don't really have a choice. This is my reality and I'm going to keep living, so I'm going to keep going because I have to. Whatever your circumstances are, create your reality, and whatever reality you're facing is your reality, so you're carrying it, so you're doing it, and that's how you're doing it. But because of that, we normalize the extraordinary and we forget to realize that it's a miracle every single day that you're showing up and enduring and doing and living and thriving through the impossible. So if you want evidence of miracles, if you want evidence of divine intervention making the impossible possible, look at your everyday life. What are you carrying? What are you holding? What have you endured? What have you survived? Look at your everyday life and the miracles are there. I think the word miracle is kind of thrown around a little bit too often now. I think it's a sacred word and I don't mean to take it lightly, but I will testify that my life in the last 18 months, getting out of bed feels like a miracle, and I don't use that word lightly. Showing up to work feels like a miracle. Getting through a week like the last week feels like a miracle, a real one, because I'm not okay. And it's really, really hard. And yet somehow I'm doing it. And to me, that is only through divine intervention. And I want to see it and I want to label it as that. And I want to say out loud that that's what's happening because that's how I'm getting through every day right now. So look at your everyday life and find where the impossible is being made possible. Maybe it's a hard relationship. Maybe it's in parenting. Maybe it's in work. Maybe it's in mental health. But somewhere in your everyday life, the impossible is being made possible. And here at this podcast, we're labeling that as divine. So where did I see divinity this last week? It's in surviving, in enduring, in doing it. There is divine help at play. If you want to believe in miracles, look at your everyday life and find the places where your capacity is somehow beyond your own, where you're somehow doing the impossible. And then reflect back through periods of your life where you look at something and you say, man, how did I do that? How did I do that? And then maybe give some of the credit to the divine. Every single day, you're witnessing miracles, and I don't use that word lightly. But the older we get, the more life experience we have, the more connections we have to people, the more we see pain and suffering beyond the imaginable, beyond what we thought was possible. And because of that, every single day, the impossible is being made possible. And believing in that is the rebellion. And believing in that is the path through. And believing in that will make you see it in your own life and make you understand that you are becoming the miracle every single day by what you choose, by what you do, and by willingly accepting divine help to become more than you are by yourself. Love you so much. XOXO Gossip Girl. Just kidding. Bye. Love you.